Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Poonam Kage, and I welcome you to this session of FB Live session of how to set up your child for success in class and life by integrating or infusing social emotional learning in your everyday life. Yeah, so first, we'll just wait for a couple of seconds and let a few people join in. In the meantime, can you give me a quick review of what's your name, what is your child's age, where are you from? Hi, Priya. Hi, Lakshmi. Hello. How old are your kids and any specific challenge or anything specific that you're looking at for this FB Live? So today I'm going to be talking about social and emotional learning and infusing, because this is something which is a very critical and a very important component when it comes to a child's life, and that is something I believe is the missing element. So the entire focus will be on understanding what is social emotional learning and how you as a parent or an educator can infuse social emotional learning in their everyday life, whether it is home or if it's a school. Okay, so what exactly are you going to get in this session? First, we'll talk about defining or what is social emotional learning. What is the importance and the impact of social emotional learning? So we'll talk about the short-term benefits, we'll talk about the long-term benefits. I'll also give you a lot of information with regards to, as an educator, as a parent, what can you exactly do on a daily basis so that you are able to infuse and integrate social emotional learning. Right now, before I begin, I want to set a few ground rules for this session. Okay, so this FB Live will last for an hour, which is basically 60 minutes, and therefore I want you to be extremely focused and I want you to listen carefully to everything that I'm trying to share in this 60-minute. I want you to make a lot of notes as well. So please keep a pen and a notepad handy, simply because many times in the session you might learn new concepts and you might forget it later, and therefore I want you to remember and note it. Okay, so not everything obviously, because I want you to listen and focus on what I'm saying rather than making notes, but something that's extremely crucial and important or relevant for you, I want you to make a note of it. Okay. Also, there will be a Q&A session at the end of this session, which is the FB Live, after which you can start, sharing your questions, your challenges, and then I will try and answer. Now, the reason why I said this is because there's a certain flow and I'm talking about a few elements here, and I might just miss on looking at the chat, right? So that's the reason. You can park your questions and then you can start asking me right after the session ends, at the end of the session. Okay, so Lakshmi, how to control kids when they throw tantrums during shopping? Okay. Well, I'll try and cover all of this, right? Maybe at the end, or I'll take the Q&A later. Thank you first, Priya. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks, Mansi. Yeah, so we'll get started. Okay, now that we're going to be sharing this space for the next 60 minutes, is it okay if I share a little information about myself with you? Is that okay? Type yes if you're okay, and I shall share my personal information with you. Okay, so I'm a psychologist and I have done my PhD in motivation mapping, which means that my core area of focus was trying to understand the inspiration and the motivations and what motivates people to succeed. So that was a correlation that I was focusing on. I'm also a parent coach. I'm writing a book on a big leap on the 21st century education, which basically focuses on an aspirational method or aspirational education system for the 21st century. 21st century, because we have seen that there is a lot of change, right? And therefore we have to match up with the environment and the needs. So that's why the education that we are giving right now is not enough for our kids, and therefore I'm talking in the book, I'm talking a lot about the importance of social emotional learning and what needs to be done with children on a daily basis other than their academic. Right now the focus is too much on the academics and the scores and the percentage, but you have to go beyond the academics, and there are so many other elements and components which are missing, like life skill is missing, social emotional learning is missing, many other habits that we never focus or talk about within the school system. So that is something that we need to focus on, right? So I talk about that in the book. Then I'm also a wife to a loving master mariner, and I have a daughter who's age 10 and her name is Tisha. So that's really me. And my mission is to help and support and guide and empower 100,000 parents and educators to help children, unleash their truest potential, because every child is unique, every child is special, and they have a potential. Now the only thing that we as parents and educators need to do is we should be able to identify what they are good at, उनका potential किस चीज़ में है, कौन से aspect में है. But what we usually do, or the challenge that we face, is we realize that education is extremely important, academics is extremely important, and therefore we start focusing on these aspects and forget there are other aspects, right? So that is something that I'll be guiding and helping and supporting parents to do. Okay, I have coached and conducted many workshops till date. I've almost trained maybe 1,000 children, and the kind of schools that I've been to and done my training is DAV, DPS, Arya Vidya Mandir, St. Lawrence, St. Xavier's, all the BMC schools in Mumbai. So these are the kind of schools where I've conducted workshops on life skills training, and the area of, or the aspects that I've dealt with is communication, resilience, conflict management. Okay, so these are the topics that I talk about. And I've also done a lot of corporate training, and the corporates that I've been to are Cadbury, HUL, Otis, NABARD. So I've conducted various categories of workshop. Either it's with the parents, or it's with the teachers, or it's with the kids, where I'm conducting workshops for them with life skills training, and corporates for super women. So it's a very women-oriented or entrepreneurial kind of workshop that I've conducted in the past. Okay, now the reason why I do parenting and the coaching with regards to parenting workshops is because I believe that parents have an immense potential and the power to bring about a massive transformation in their child's life, but that doesn't really happen, right? As I said, we get caught up with our day-to-day activities, and the focus is on certain elements which are, yes, important and wo critical hote hai, but that becomes the major focal area, and then we start ignoring the other aspects. So I help parents understand and establish a strong foundation for their child's success, and that's how we do. That's what we do in the parent coaching. I also do a lot of teacher training. Now I believe as educators, they have maximum impact on the child after the parent. In fact, there have been times where I feel that educators take over the kind of influence that they have, because many a times my daughter herself, she comes and tells me that, nahi mom, ye aise nahi karte, this is something that, my teacher hasn't taught me this way. So I listen to my teacher because that's the method that she taught me. So that's the kind of impact and influence teachers, educators have on our children, right? And that's why it's very important to support them and help them become the best educator and mentor that they are. So let's get started with, now let's focus on what exactly is social emotional learning and why are we today going to focus on social emotional learning, right? So I believe this is one key component or a cluster of skills that are extremely important. So this is something which is not new or novice, okay? This has been, there's a lot of research that has already been done on social emotional learning, and it's a very famous kind of concept which is being utilized on a daily basis and applied in the universities and schools in US and UK. But when it comes to India or at our national level or in Mumbai, there are not many schools which infuse social emotional learning. Okay, now I'm not saying that it's not there, it's completely missing. It might be there might be certain aspects, but it's not on a consistent basis, and we don't hold it as important as academics. Okay, so that's really the missing element. And what is social emotional learning? It is basically a process where you teach or the children or the adult to understand their emotions, get better self-awareness, better manage their emotions effectively, and how they can make important life decisions, responsible decision making, citizenship sikhate hai. So all these components are extremely critical, and they form the social and emotional learning. Okay, and that is something which is given by an institute or an organization called CASEL, and there's a lot of research. As I said, कि बहुत सारा research चल रहा है with regards to social and emotional learning and what kind of impact it can have on children. And one such survey or research showed that when you integrate social emotional learning within the child's everyday life, okay, there is almost a 9% improvement in their pro-social behavior. This 10% reduction of emotional distress. Now, when I say emotional distress, someone just talked about the temper tantrums, right? So there is more control over the emotion. So you might feel a lot of emotions, but the way you manage those emotions, the way you showcase those emotions, that is something that they teach you in SEL, and that's something when you integrate, you see a massive improvement in their child's behavior. So there is less of emotional distress. There is also a 11% increase in the achievement scores, which means that it's extremely critical for even academic scores. So I have many people who ask me, or even parents who come to me as clients, they ask me that is social emotional learning that important, and because I don't have the time right now. They already have so many classes, and there's badminton and chess and so many other things that they're doing, and then uske upar ye padhai bhi hai, and now you're also asking me to increase and start this integration of social emotional learning. So in that sense, how important and how crucial is it? So it is extremely crucial because it has a direct impact on your academic scores as well. At the same time, it also has impact on many other aspects of your child's life, and therefore yes, it is important that you make space and time to integrate social emotional learning. In fact, you can drop a few other things that you believe are important. They might not be as important as social emotional learning, right? So you've got to improve their social emotional skills, and their EQ has to be super high. Okay, so social emotional learning is basically categorized into two parts. Okay, so one is the emotional aspect and one is the social aspect. Now when we talk about the emotional aspect, we're talking about self-awareness and we're talking about self-management. Now when I say self-awareness, it means that you are aware of the kind of emotions that you are going through. Like as a parent or as a child, you have to teach the person to understand and identify and acknowledge what exactly is the person or the child going through at that phase or that point in time. Because many times I have seen that parents or maybe children are not able to identify their emotional state कि कौन से state में हूँ मैं अभी, what kind of emotion am I facing right now, right? So this is something that's very critical according to me, because if you don't understand, if you don't have an awareness, if you don't have enough information and knowledge, then how will you manage something? If you want to bring about a massive change or a transformation or change the behavioral pattern, you will have to first gain awareness, and therefore that clarity is extremely important. The second part to that emotional quotient is the self-management, where I said that first is awareness, get clarity on what you're facing, what you're feeling. Okay, after that you move on to self-management. You cannot manage something without having an understanding about that particular concept. So once I know that I get distressed or anxious very easily, now I know how to manage my anxiousness or my anxiety levels when I am in a stressful situation. So ye ho gaye, these are the two aspects of the emotional EQ, right? Aspect. Now let's talk about the social aspect. Now social aspect, if I had to sort of differentiate, it's basically the external environment, or it's my interaction with other people, the external world. So the first thing, as I said, just say awareness and clarity is important before you manage certain things. Before you manage other relationships, external things, relationships, you will first have to manage your own emotional behavior, right? So when you have an high EQ, so when you're able to manage and when you're aware, you will be able to add massive value to your relationships, okay, with your spouse, with your parents, with your in-laws, with every person you're interacting with. For your child, it could be their friends, their teachers, their educators, right? So that's the kind of impact that we are talking about. And all of this leads to a sense of responsible decision making, which means that whenever you act out of all of this awareness and you have clarity, right, the kind of decisions that you or your child make are going to be amazingly positive, which means that you will now be clear about what you want, how you want. You will also ensure that you don't hurt someone, or your decision does not have any negative impact on your parents, on the other people, the external world, right? So these are the critical components when it comes to social and emotional learning. But in simple terms, what exactly is an emotional skill? Okay, so emotional skill, I believe, is how you manage and interact with people, how you manage your emotions, how you understand the other person, their personality, the phase that they are going through. Okay, in case they are anxious, in case they are angry, or there's an outburst, how do you manage that relationship? How do you form teams? How do you influence others positively in the external environment? That is your emotional state. Social skills comes along with emotional state. As I said, that your interaction with yourself as a person, as a human being, and how you externally, apply all of these, the knowledge and the information that you have about emotions, about managing your emotions, is something that is covered in social and emotional learning. Okay, so right now we are going to only focus on the emotional bit, because social and emotional learning is a huge topic, it's a massive and a vast topic, and therefore 60 minutes aren't really enough to do justice to this entire topic, and therefore we'll focus only on the emotional aspects. Okay, now let's talk about what exactly is the outcome of social and emotional learning. इसका impact क्या है, इसका positive outcome क्या है, short term benefit क्या है, long term benefit क्या है. Firstly, I'd like to suggest and say that social and emotional learning needs to be introduced early on in life. Like your child can be as old as maybe say 2 years, 1.5 years, when they start going to their preschool. Okay, that's when you start introducing social emotional learning. It's going to be far more easier for you to bring about that transformation and that change. Because by the time the kids are maybe 10 and 11 and 12, it's very difficult and a challenging job to introduce it then, right? जैसे हम alphabets, we always introduce them early on, right? We do that in pre-primary, which means that they know how or what they need to do in grade 1, The same way in pre-primary itself, start introducing social emotional learning early on, because then the child will understand what is social emotional learning on a everyday life. They might not understand the definition of social emotional learning because they're tiny, right? But if you start introducing activities and integrating social emotional learning, okay, within their everyday life, it will bring about a positive change in their behavior, right? It will also boost their academic excellence. Now many parents feel कि इसका academic excellence के साथ कोई लेना देना नहीं है, there's no correlation, and that is so untrue. Because imagine, many times I have seen that the child has a very high IQ, okay, but it has very low EQ, and therefore when he's sitting in the class, he is not able to raise his hand and ask questions or doubt. He doesn't make friends easily, and therefore he does not interact with other people, right? He has so many doubts in his mind with regards to certain subject, but he will not open up. All these are cues or other signs and aspects of social emotional learning. So the moment you start introducing social emotional learning, and the moment his EQ वो बढ़ जाता है, you will see a massive transformation, and it will obviously have an impact on his SQ, which is the success quotient, right? It also improves his self-confidence and self-esteem and self-efficacy, like I just discussed right now, right? कि आप जब इंट्रोड्यूस करते हो, when you are in control, when you understand what's happening, right, then you obviously know how to manage things effectively, whether it is yourself or whether it is other people or anything else in the external environment. You can take care and you can handle it, right? तो एक वो resilience आ जाता है बच्चों में. Okay, it also serves as a solid platform for improving your pro-social behavior or the way you behave in the society, right? There are so many people today, there is a crisis and people just withdraw. They don't even come and help and support, or don't even ask you, is there anything that I can do? So these are very small things, but they matter, right? Because that's something that will actually define what kind of person you are. Okay, so that's why all of these are extremely important. It also enhances your career prospects. Now imagine the child, as I said, is amazing in his EQ or IQ, and what really happens is he doesn't know now how to deal with the team members or many other teachers or educators. What exactly do you do? It's very difficult for them, right? And therefore you have to introduce. So he will be good not only in classroom, but also he'll do better when he joins the corporates. Okay, now let me talk about what exactly is the emotional quotient and what exactly forms emotion. So in simple words, emotion is energy in motion. Okay, when I say energy in motion, every emotion has a certain critical state, right? जैसे कि happiness हो, sadness हो, anger हो, there are various emotions, and every emotion has a certain degree of energy that you carry within. So imagine that's the kind of impact that you will have. So in case you are sad, okay, in case you are unhappy, in case you are distressed or anxious, what really happens is that this is going to have an influence and this is going to have an impact on your child as well, and therefore you have to be very careful with your emotional status and your emotional quotient. So many a times I listen to parents when they say that my child doesn't explain to me properly, he's not able to express properly, he doesn't tell me usko kya chahiye, right? That happens because as a person you have not been able to build that resilience, or you have not been able to build that emotional quotient, which means that you will also have to do certain things. आपका EQ भी उतना आपको बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. Now how do you do that? Because it's very important to understand that when you want your children to do certain things, you will first have to start with yourself, right? Because children are going to follow you, they're going to look at you and they're going to replicate the same behaviors. तो आप क्या करोगे? Also an awareness with regards to what are the different kind of emotions. So if I have to talk about, imagine there was a rating scale, okay, a rating scale which starts at 0 and it ends at 700. Now 0 is negative. I won't say negative, it's a neutral state. Okay, for example, a dead person, he does not have any emotions, it's a 0 state there, and therefore that is something that we want to avoid, right? 700 is the other end of the spectrum, which is extremely positive, which is extremely transformational, and it means almost like a person like Buddha, where there is sort of an enlightenment, right? They are extremely evolved personalities, and it is so difficult to get there. So I'm not asking you to reach a level of 700 to be an intentional parent or to be a super parent, but what I'm asking you is to understand that every emotion will have a certain degree, and the kind of emotions that have been mapped around, okay, anything between 0 to 200 is something that needs to be avoided, because you have certain emotions like sadness, anger, anxiety, inhibitions, all of this comes under 200. The moment you start moving over 150 is a positive state, and therefore every single day you will have to monitor your emotional state first. ओके, सो ये एक अवेयरनेस होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. सो यू स्टार्ट योर डे विद अ मैक्सिमम इन अ पॉजिटिव transformational what you say state of 200 or 150 and above, so that you can make that transformation happen within your child. So for example, if I give you, see, assume you're in a room, okay, I'm sure many of you have experienced this state. So when you're in a room, there are certain personalities who walk in and everyone's looking at them, and you know, they're extremely enthusiastic, they're energetic, they have these positive vibes, right? And you feel or sense something powerful about them. Now why does this happen? Because they ensure this graph and they maintain themselves at 200 and above. So I think they would be around 250 to 300. That's the kind of power and energy that they're carrying with them, and therefore you start noticing them, right? Whereas there are also other negative people, you know, who you look at, and then you have this certain negative gut feeling, and then you don't want to be around them, you don't want to interact with them, they're sulking and complaining and everything is negative about them. Now that happens because they are operating out of a negative mindset, and they're carrying this negative score, which is from 0 to say around 150 or 100, which means that यहाँ पे clarity बहुत ज़रूरी होनी चाहिए, right? So if you are clear, if you know that this is the graph that we are looking at, and this is the score that I should not be in, this is the score that I should follow, it gives you a lot of space and opportunity to bring about that massive transformation within yourself first, right? Secondly, when you're talking about kids, as I said, that you will have to do the step 1. This is the first thing that you will have to do as a parent. You will have to be vulnerable. Okay, when I say vulnerable, it's not negative to be vulnerable. When I say vulnerable, I mean that you got to be authentic about yourself. Like, we are all human beings, right? And human beings are full of emotions. We are born with emotions, and therefore you cannot act like someone minus emotions. You cannot say that I'm not an emotional person, I know what needs to be done, and therefore usually emotional states or sensitivity is looked upon as a negative aspect, and I believe that's not a negative aspect. It is something that you need to acknowledge, you need to be aware of, and if you're able to effectively manage, it's awesome. As I said, that we are human beings, and therefore we will go through emotional states and emotional phases. We will have external stimuli, we will have an environment where we'll feel happy, sometimes we will feel sad. So it's very important that you showcase that emotion within you. You do not have to neglect or avoid the idea of being emotional in the first place, right? I'm not asking you to be a crybaby all the time, right? That is also something that you will have to avoid, okay, because it falls in the graph of say 0 to maybe 100. So that is something that we will avoid, but you got to be authentic. So when there are situations, you know, when you're undergoing a particular negative emotion or a positive emotion, you should be okay to share it with the family members. Like, for example, let me share a personal experience. So I live alone with my daughter Tisha, who's 10 now, and there was this particular movie that I was watching, okay, and the movie had a particular pet, okay, which has certain things, and I was feeling extremely bad because I had a pet, okay, I've had a pet in the past, and it was a very traumatic experience for me to, you know, see her pass away. So that is something that is ingrained in me. So whenever I see a pet, okay, whenever I see any sort of dogs or animals, I'm extremely sensitive, and then I have tears rolling over my eyes. So, you know, Tisha, my daughter, came up to me and she said, "What happened, Mom? Are you okay? Like, kuch ho raha hai aapko?" And I said, No, it's okay. I just felt a certain emotion and I was experiencing that. But at that point in time, I did not negate it. I did not avoid talking, or I did not avoid any sort of discussion. I talked about my pet. I talked about my memories. I talked about my experience. I talked about how attached I am to animals, and therefore that I feel extremely bad and sad and unhappy when I go through this phase, right? So I have made it a ritual in my family where when we feel certain things, we open up and we talk about it, right? And it's absolutely okay, because this is the way, you know, children will learn to understand, okay, and identify the different emotional patterns that even parents go through. They will look at the parent and say, Acha, if my parent can go through this, if she can cry, and if this is happening, I think it's absolutely okay if I go through the same stage and the cycles, right? And therefore it's absolutely okay. So start discussing and having a lot of discussion in relation to social emotional learning. Have discussions about your memories and your experiences and what you felt at a certain, talk about your feelings all the time, okay? Now I have a very interesting activity for you. I want you to take up this challenge, and I want you to do this right away. Maybe in the next 2 days, I want you to try out this exercise, okay? I want you to pick up 5 people, okay, 5 significant people in your life, okay? Now, because it's we are focusing on parenting, we're talking about social emotional learning, I want you to keep in mind that you can choose one as your child. So the first person in these 5 significant people is going to be your child. The second, third, fourth is something that you can choose, and you can decide who it is. It can be a spouse, it can be a sibling, it can be your parents, your in-laws, anyone. Okay. Now the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to focus on one particular experience or an event that you have undergone with this particular person. Okay. And I want you to make a note of it. Okay, make a note of it. What was the experience like? What was the feeling that you went through, and what was the situation like? Now the situation could be anything. It could be a positive situation, it could be a negative situation. It has to be a situation which has a very powerful emotion. Okay, it could be positive, it could be negative. After writing that, I want you to understand and identify what is your thought process during that particular instance. जब भी था वो event हो रहा था, what was your thought process at that point in time, what were your feelings at that point in time, and what was the behavioral action or the reaction that you gave in person in the external environment. So these three things I want you to write down and make, and try and be as descriptive as possible, right? So you can say that I thought it was extremely naive of her or whatever. Then I was feeling stupid, I was feeling silly, I was feeling strange, I was feeling adventurous, whatever it is. So you have to write down your thought process, you have to write down your feelings, and you have to talk about the behavioral reaction. After this is done, I want you to call up that person and I want you to interact with that person, and after exchanging pleasantries, I want you to talk about this particular situation where you had a certain emotion, right? A strong emotion that you experienced, but you never were able to express, emote it, and talk about it in public, or to that person for that matter, right? So I want you to first give him the information regarding, or maybe remind him of that the event that you were talking about, and say, you know what, that this was a particular event and a situation that we met in, and do you remember this particular experience and event? And you know what, I would like to share something with you which I wanted to for so long, but I have not been able to for some odd reason, but today I believe that I should share it with you, and you know, I feel that you should know what I went through. And then you have to share your experience, right? You have to talk about मुझे ऐसे लगा था, and this particular sentence or this particular word, okay, gave rise to this emotion within me. Okay, you're also going to talk about the fact that because of all of this, I behaved in a very funny fashion or a negative fashion or whatever, that the way you reacted, and you explain as to what went in your system or your mental state. You talk about it, you show openness, right? This way you're also giving an opportunity to the other person to talk about that particular situation. You never know, the person might have had a similar experience or a opposite reaction to the whole situation. So it's extremely, now the objective or the purpose of this exercise is basically to show that, you know, being authentic is so important in life, and the moment you're authentic, the moment you're real, and the moment you speak from your heart and you tell the person as is, you open up opportunities and doors of a positive relationship and a transformation, because now the person knows what exactly you believe, what exactly you went through, right? You also give him an opportunity to have a better understanding about you as a person. Okay, now, so this is one exercise I want you to do. Now the reason why I asked you to do this is because, let me tell you what exactly. So emotion is made up of three components. Okay, now one is a experience that you go through. For example, there is one situation and an experience, and there are 10 people. You are one of them. Now if I had to give this exercise to every person, asking him to describe the situation and what they felt, what you will realize is every person has their own personal experience, unique experience that they have. We all have our differences, right? We all have individual differences. The same way, every experience, however objective it is, right, it might have a very different impact. For some it will have a positive impact, for some it might have a negative impact. So the emotion that gives rise or it is in your system is based on your memories and based on your experience, and therefore you have to be extremely aware and clear about what you go through when a particular situation happens right in front of you, or if you are a part of that situation. So that gives you the clarity. Also, this particular exercise, if repeated consistently, will allow your kids also to learn this particular system, because it works wonders. Just imagine if you sit and you write down your thought process, your feelings, and how you behaved in a certain fashion. Okay, it gives you more clarity because now it's on paper. So you can now change and modify your behavior. There is a better self-management technique, right? Also, you can explain the same system to your kids and they can actually do this on a regular basis. Okay. The second thing that you can do is you become a role model. As I said, that on a daily basis, you will have to do certain things. Okay, you will have to talk to the child, you will have to do discussions with regards to emotions. You will have to talk about your memories. ये सब होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Now many people feel that how do I integrate this? So I understand the importance of social emotional learning. I do not have the time. I do not get the time to interact with my child in the first place. How do I integrate? So these are fun and simple activities. In fact, let me tell you that I have designed a very interesting and engaging DIY project. Okay, it's like a project, because I say a project because it is something that you can do with your child on a daily basis, right? It's a set of exercises. Okay, there are fun sheets, they're engaging, they're creative, there's a lot of art and craft, and the instruction sheet or a manual is placed inside so that you know why this activity is being done. And every single activity, okay, while it's edutaining, it's entertaining, yes, it is going to give across a concept, okay, a concept or a social emotional learning element, which is extremely critical. And as I said, it's extremely important that you start imbibing and you start integrating these critical elements within the child's life right when the child is maybe pre-primary. So you do this on a daily basis. All that you need is 15 minutes. Okay, so you will have to focus on your child at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes per day. So every single day has to be packed with these kind of social and emotional learning related activities, which will bring about a massive change in your child's life. The second thing that you can do is you can also have a partnership with the educators, right? So as I said, that parents and educators are like, you know, mentors to your child, and therefore if there is a specific challenge, if there's a particular behavioral issue that you see, you know, within your child, and if you're able to identify that this is a key challenge, you know, when I talk about my child, you can actually go and tell the child's educators and the teachers and explain them that this is the particular challenge that I'm facing and this is what I'm doing back at home, so can you support me, right? Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is how do you know that the child is going through these emotional states? Because ये तो important है कि so now you know that social emotional learning is important and you know that you can integrate it. But how do I know where is my child right now? Right, on a rating scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is extremely low and 10 is extremely high, how do you know, or how do you understand that my child is low on EQ and that I need to have taken special efforts to imbibe and integrate this social emotional learning? So let me give you certain cues or behavioral cues. So if your child is constantly crying, okay, if your child is extremely all the time nagging, complaining or cribbing, okay, or when you ask your child, अरे बच्चे क्या हुआ, do you need something, they are not able to explain, they are not able to articulate their feelings or their emotions, okay, they are constantly having fights and arguments with other people. You get a lot of complaints from your educators and from your school, complaints about he not getting along well, he getting into conflicts, he abusing the child maybe physically or verbally, right? So these are all cues. ये जो cues है, this will give you an idea about the kind of range or the ranking that he has on the rating scale. And once you're able to identify, you'll have to modify and tweak the kind of social emotional learning integration. So if it was low right now, you'll have to sort of mix in more integration. You'll have to bring in more social emotional activities, right? You'll have to sit and explain the child rather than punishing him. You'll have to try and understand what the child is going through, right? The second thing that you'll have to do is you'll have to build their emotional vocabulary, which means that as I said, how does a child build his vocabulary? Language development कैसे होता है बच्चों में? The first thing that they learn is the alphabets, right? A to Z. Then they start making 2-letter words or 3-letter words, right? And once they have mastery over these 2-letter words, then they move on to the 3-letter words, and that's how they start building their vocabulary back at home and school. Also, they start reading, they listen to you speak. So all of these things and activities are helping them build their language vocabulary. The same way, आपको emotional vocabulary भी increase करनी पड़ेगी, which means that you will have to have an emotional stability and a high EQ to be able to, you know, bring about this change. Which means that you will have to have an understanding about emotions क्या होते हैं, उनका impact क्या होता है, what are primary emotions, what are secondary emotions. When you are going through an emotional state, okay, explain to your child what you're going through. As I said, the exercise that is going to be very useful, very effective in helping kids understand the emotional states. And you will try and have a dialogue with the child, explaining the child and questioning the child. Now when you question the child, how do you question the child? You have to give them open-ended question, which means how are you feeling right now, can you describe that to me, okay, rather than asking tell me yes or no, then the child will say no. So that's the end of communication, right? उनकी emotional vocabulary कैसे increase होगी? Only when you give them a taste of or exposure of various environments, of various emotional experiences, so that they understand that, you know, this is how happiness looks like. So when my mom is smiling, and she's bubbling with energy and she's extremely enthusiastic while talking, that's when I know that she's happy. So this happiness looks like that. So you will have to give them cues for every emotion. Okay, what are the behavioral or what are the action points, or how is the body language, how is my posture, how is the gesture, or how is the eye contact? All of these things you'll have to talk, and you need not have a scientific talk like how I'm talking to you right now. This is something that where I'm trying to explain you that this is how it's done, but you can have your own creative ways of explaining. You can discuss how was your day. Okay, when you are discussing your day and when you're talking to your child, be expressive, be descriptive in your the way you explain to your child about any single thing. And that's when they start understanding that these are the words which are associated with a particular emotion, and that's when they will start discussing with you, right? I hope you're understanding till now whatever that I've said. In case you've understood, just give me a thumbs up, right, so that I know that you're understanding. Okay, people, any questions that you have that you want me to answer? Okay, so this is the kind of emotional stability that you'll have to bring about in your family itself. Okay, which means that you'll have to discuss, you'll have to role play, you'll have to give an exposure. You'll also have to train the other people within your house, which means, as I said, that parenting is a team effort. So just you doing a particular thing or an activity will not help, which means that you'll have to take help and support from your in-laws, from your parents, from your spouse, and you'll have to create a strong foundation, which means that you will have to have clarity in terms of this is the kind of challenge that a child is facing, or there is no challenge, but we want to raise our child to be happy and successful and fulfilling, and these are the things that I would like to do. And you'll have to have a sort of a to-do list for your spouse, for your in-laws, for your parents, and you'll have to create these partnerships for your child. Okay, so this is something that you will have to do on a daily basis, right? Is there anything else that you would want me to talk about more in terms of in-depth detail? Any question that you have? In the meantime, let me take the question with regards to the temper tantrum. Right now, a temper tantrum is a attention seeking behavior. So you have to realize that what you see as a behavior is something that's happening externally, right? What the child might be going through, what he's thinking and what he's feeling might be very different from what he's showing across. What you are saying is the behavior. You're not seeing what the child is feeling, because obviously he's not been able to, or doesn't have the opportunity to come and explain to you that this is what is happening to me. Okay, so typically when it's a temper tantrum issue, the temper tantrum challenge is because the child has not received enough attention. Okay, now this, and in this case I'm not saying that, Lakshmi, that you have been inattentive to your child. There are certain aspects or areas or phases when they need more attention, and there are times when we are not able to give that sort of attention and focus to our children, and that might happen, and that's absolutely okay. But when there is a temper tantrum, let me tell you how do you deal with a temper tantrum. So I know that this usually happens in places where it's extremely crowded, and that the kids know that they have an audience to look at. Rather they know that the parents will feel embarrassed, they'll feel shy, and they out of that whole thing, they will just end up giving the child whatever that the child wants. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do is that you have to be extremely intentional, focused upon the role that you play, which is about an intentional parent. Okay, so I want you to stay cool, calm and relaxed. Composed रहना है. I know it's extremely challenging and difficult to stay calm and composed when your child is actually throwing a fit in the middle of a shopping mall. But allow your child to settle and let him cry for a bit. Let him understand that he crying is not instigating or is not a trigger to your emotions, or is not trigger to your behavior or what you do with your child. Okay. Secondly, allow him space and time. Now, if he does not stop the temper tantrum, the second thing that you do is you walk up to him and you tell him that this is something that I do not like. This kind of behavior will not be appreciated. In case you want a particular thing or a toy or a book, you will have to come and make a request. Okay, and I will get to decide whether I want to give in to that need of yours or no. I will decide whether I want to give that book or toy or not. Or we can schedule for the next shopping mall visit. Okay, after having said that, you will give him a glass of water or maybe a water bottle, okay, and a piece of handkerchief, okay, something to wipe the tears, and you will say that you've got to calm down right now, because if you're crying and throwing a temper tantrum, I'm not going to listen to your request. I'm standing right there and I'll be watching you and observing you. So calm down. After you settle and after you stop crying, you can come up to me and then we can have a conversation, an adult conversation. This is the kind of conversation I want you to have. Do not lose your temper, and you do not have to lose your cool just because your child is acting up there. right? Here you are the adult, and therefore you will have to be focused about trying to understand what the child is going through and not talking or not thinking about what the other people are thinking about, right? First of all, let me tell you that all these things keep happening, and therefore it's not the first time that parents or any other person is watching your child. It might be the first time for you, and it's absolutely okay, it happens, right? So this is the way you tackle. Also, before the next visit, I want you to sit with the child and have a conversation and say that, last time आपने ऐसे किया था and I did not appreciate that behavior, and now you know that once you do this particular negative action or a temper tantrum, I'm not going to listen to you, right? The purpose of this shopping mall visit is going to be that we want to buy things like 1 2 3. Beyond उसके हम कुछ नहीं खरीदने वाले. So you make the point very clear right in advance. Okay, so I've told you what to do before you go to a shopping mall. I've also told you how to take care of a temper tantrum before when you are there in the shopping mall and when your kids are throwing a temper tantrum. Okay, so are there any other questions related to social emotional learning? And maybe I can take up those questions now. Okay, just give me a moment, people. I'm trying to understand the questions sent by Surjaya, and I'm just going to get back to you with the answers, right? Okay, so Megha Verma, this is your question, right? That your child is 2.8. So 2.8, yes, he's old enough to understand that he needs to go and visit the loo frequently, and that's not happening, right? So I believe there could be two things. One is that there could be a mental problem, right? Like a psychological issue that we need to train. Secondly, it also could be something related to his physical health. So have you been and, have you gone to a clinic and talked to a pediatrician and talked about his challenge that he's facing? Also, what you can do is, now this is something that I can't tell you over a chat because there's a certain system and a process. What you can do is you can email me your problem at poonam@rollercoasteredu.com, and then I'll take you to the process of how you can set certain alarms and systems where you don't have to wait for the child to pee in his pants or urinate in his pants. Okay, I'm taking the next question. Okay, now Aparna, this is to do with your language development. As I said that so you'll have to understand that there is a certain pattern. So yes, there are certain milestones, okay, which on an average work for every single child, and there's a template or a chart. If you Google and you search, you will find that. But there are times when your child does not speak, and there suddenly might be a phase where he starts speaking a lot. So what you have to do is you have to act as a stimuli in the environment, and you have to build a conducive and a strong environment for him. Okay, which means that you'll have to start talking and you'll have to start discussing a lot of things with him on a daily basis. So you can divide the day into 4 quadrants. Every single quadrant, okay, you will have to take up one activity. You'll have to constantly talk to the child. You'll have to figure out if he's listening to you, he's observing you. When you repeat a certain sentence, or maybe 3 times, 4 times, ask him to rehearse and repeat that. So we will know where exactly, is it his memory, is it is he revising, is he rehearsing, is he repeating the things that you're telling him. So the good point is that he is able to talk about the alphabets, right? He is able to say alphabets, numbers, few words, which is good. I think one of a very important habit that you need to instill, or anyone needs to instill as a parent, is reading as a habit. Okay, so try and read at least 2 books per day. Have flashcards, have picture cards. You have these cardboard bound books which are not very easy to tear, right? So you can give those kind of books. You can show them pictures. So when you show them the picture, for example, this is the picture. So you show them the picture and you say this is red color. So introduce him to colors. You introduce them to various concepts and try and introduce it in a way where you're able to map that. So talk about colors for an entire week. Pick up different kind of themes. So once you're talking about umbrella, different colors. Once you're talking about rainbow, again you talk about Vipure. Once you talk about what am I wearing today, which color am I wearing today. Okay, so introduce one theme at a time. Continue that theme for an entire week or 10 days, and then check if there's any change in his recall, in his recognition. The first thing is recognition. Okay, he will be able to recognize. Recall uske baad aayega. That's how you introduce certain topics. Do a lot of reading, do a lot of listening, a lot of talking and discussing. Allow the child to talk. Rather make it a regime or a ritual where the child has to talk to you certain things. I know it's very difficult because the child is really young, it's only 3 years, but kids do talk because they will have certain experiences and feelings that they go through when they are back in their pre-primary sections, right? Because he's 3 years, I'm assuming that he's already in a pre-primary, whether kindergarten or junior KG, senior KG. So they will have lots of talking and sharing that will happen. If he is not ready to, you try and start discussing and ask the educators or ask the teachers to whatever happened through the day, so that you know what to discuss about through the day with your child. Okay, this is the way that you will be able to see a little change and difference in the terms of the language development of the child. The only thing I can say is that you will have to constantly keep discussing, talking about new words, introduce new vocabulary to him so that he also starts imitating and talking. Okay, now moving on to Namrata Agarwal. My son is 5 years old and has a lack of concentration in his studies. Okay, Namrata, I believe lack of concentration, lack of focus, attentiveness nahi hai. All of these things keep happening a lot these days because there is so much of stimulus in the environment, right? There are so many things that the kids want to enjoy in the external environment, and then they are supposed to do certain things. Now the reason why they want to move on to those other activities and not focus on the studies, because studies, as I said, is not a very interesting thing. So we have academic subjects, we have a certain format and a certain system that we follow while teaching a particular subject. The only way to get them to do their task, okay, or the homework or the classwork is that you make them sit in one place and you remove all the other distractions. Okay, iPad, LeapPad, phones, WhatsApp, आप भी बंद कर दीजिए, आप complete focus कीजिए. Tell your child that for the next 1 hour you will also sit with the child and that you will not focus on other things, right? आप भी multitasking छोड़ दीजिए and completely focus and concentrate on your child. Okay, the second thing that you need to do is you will have to chart out a system or a ritual or timetable जैसे होता है. So in school how they have a timetable that every half hour the period changes, right? And they have a recess and a long break. So the children know what to expect. उनको पता है कि इसके बाद मैथ के बाद साइंस आने वाला है, साइंस के बाद EVS or whatever that it is, right? The same way in the home system you will have to create a timetable for your child. What happens is especially right now during the COVID, because all the kids are back at home and there are online sessions, so that's not going on for the entire day. So that's why they're left with a lot of void, or there are not many activities that they can do, and therefore you'll have to make it a formal system and decide on a timetable that this is the time that you wake up, uske baad aap yoga karoge, you'll have a glass of water, you will do your exercising, you will do your chanting, you will do your tables, I don't know. So these are the activities that you will have to define which are important to you and your child. You will have to have a partnership with him, you will have to have a discussion. You will have to ensure that your child says yes when you're discussing all of this, right? So when you put the timetable, you will show him that this is the discussion that we had, and therefore this is what I have put on a daily basis, and make a reflection calendar. Now this reflection calendar is an activity that I've also introduced in my DIY kit that I was talking about. So these are the things which will help you to get things done as a parent from your child, because I know it's very difficult to get them to focus on a certain thing, because you can't go inside their mind and do things for them, right? But the only thing that you can do is you can set an alarm, you can keep aside time or slots for certain activities which need to be done on a daily basis, right? And you'll have to tell your child ki right now is your homework period or homework slot, and therefore you will have to do homework, you cannot be doing anything else. After you do this, you can move on to your entertainment, and that entertainment also, please define, parents, do not give gadgets to your children, because that has a lot of negative impact and influence on their cognitive abilities. So keep them away, try and engage them and try and entertain them in various ways. Okay, I know it's extremely challenging considering that parents are extremely busy right now, mothers are doing too many things right now because of the COVID, there is no house help, but you will have to manage this, and that's the way that you will decide कि ये slots है, आपको ऐसे करना पड़ेगा. Secondly, if he doesn't manage that well, you will have to follow the natural consequence method. The natural consequence method is that if you do not do a particular thing, you will not get that. It will be completely withdrawn out of your entire day. So for example, if you are watching the TV and you have not done your homework, you have not done your answer sheets or whatever that you had asked him to do, you will withdraw the TV time, which means that he will not have access to the TV for the entire maybe 1 month or 30 days. Now when the child, and you have to keep up to that, okay, don't give in to your child's demands easily. Once you set a pattern, once you decide that you will go through this natural consequence, decide 30 days, so फिर 30 days आप मत लगाइए TV उनके लिए, because what happens is this is going to be the setting of the tone and setting of the context. If you make a promise or if you do certain things in a particular manner for the first time and then give it up and not follow that system, your child will learn that pattern quickly. Your child will understand that माँ तो सिर्फ ऐसा बोलती है, ultimately she allows me. So they will not take you seriously, right? And so if you want them to listen to you, you will have to say one particular thing and you will have to stick by it. You will have to act on it like that. Don't say one thing and do something else. Then even the child gets completely confused कि अरे mom ने बोला तो था, but I think now she's allowing me, so it's absolutely fine. So they will actually use this for every single habit of theirs, right? So try that particular method. Okay. I'm sure. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll try and read the questions as well. So, okay. Hi, ma'am. My daughter is 3 years, 11 months, not having patience to learn a game, but she's very active and asking questions about everything, but doesn't have the patience to learn a game, watch anything speedy, how to handle. Okay. You'll have to understand that kids are, so I won't call it, so there are two things, okay? When we say that they are impatient and hyperactive, it's a very different psychological term that we use. What you're talking about is naturally kids want something new all the time, so they have no patience. So what I want you to do is give them certain tasks and give them certain games which are small, or what you say, that are time specific, not more than 5 minutes or 6 minutes, because उनका attention span जो होता है ना, वो उतना ही होता है. If you move away and if you give them a game which is much more complex in understanding and it needs a lot of reasoning, okay, they will not understand it and they are extremely enthused, right? They want to know more about it. So sometimes you don't have to make them understand a particular game. Let them just do what they have to do. Of course, hitting and tearing and all, that's not the kind of behavior that I'm talking about. But otherwise, if they are extremely curious, just talk with them, just have a discussion. If they are asking any questions which are not actually relevant to the game, okay, still try and answer those questions. You will realize that after a point they will have the patience. Also, patience comes up with practice. So if you expect them to sit in one place for 15 minutes or so, it's going to be very tough for them. Therefore, if you have any kind of session, any kind of activities that you are doing with them, okay, start small. Start with 5 minutes. That 5 minutes you'll sit on this particular, or you'll sit in this particular position, you will not get up. So coming back to the DIY kit that I'm talking about, I have this talking mat which is designed. It's a mat that you sit on and it is exactly for this challenge. All the kids go through this. They're extremely impatient, they're impulsive, they don't want to sit in one place, they don't want to listen to you, they don't even listen to the entire set of instructions that given to them, right? This is the same challenge that you are facing. So you can buy that kit actually. You can make the child sit on that activity or that particular talking mat and give the activity, and you will tell the child that what the game is to sit on this mat for the next 5 minutes, okay, and start replicating this for many other activities. So right now you are saying that the challenge is that the child does not have the patience to sit through a particular game, right? That's one activity that you're doing. The other activity that you can focus on is that when the child is sitting and drinking water or having cornflakes or having their meals, make them sit in one position in one place for 5 minutes. Okay, also introduce yoga, meditation, mindfulness activities. Okay, talk about a particular story. When you're reading a story book is usually, say for toddlers, it's usually between say 5 to 7 minutes, right? So you should make them sit in one place. Okay, try and make it very interesting. आप storytelling कर सकते हो, आप puppet कर सकते हो, right? And try and make it so engaging that the child forgets that he's sitting in one place for so long. And 5 minutes ऐसे आप start कर सकते हो. So 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and that's how you increase the range. It might, now this period varies from child to child. There are some who settle out fast. There are some some kids who take time. So you will have to understand, okay, and analyze and observe your child कि what is the kind of, so you will have to have clarity in terms of कहाँ से start किया हमने. So have a monitor that progress, okay, because you believe, आपको लगता है अरे इसमें तो कुछ change ही नहीं हो रहा है, but you never know. 2 minutes, okay, is also progress for the child and for you. Okay, so try and map that progress and development. Okay, the next question is, how can I make him understand not to hit other kids? Okay, it's just impulsive. He loves his friends. He's pushed out of his playgroups due to this behavior. How do I counsel him? Okay, now as I said, there are certain, I wouldn't say negative, but there are ineffective behaviors, right? This is not going to give him anything positive. As you said, that hitting, because your child is hitting someone, he gets disbarred and debarred and gets disconnected with the other social interactions that he has. Does he have a sibling in the house, or is he not getting enough attention or focus? Many of times kids get into this sort of behavior or these sort of actions because they want certain things, and there's a lot of built up aggression within the child, and they believe by doing so, by removing this anger and rage, they will get that attention. Okay, so this could also be an attention seeking behavior, which means that you need to sit and discuss with your child. You need to understand why is he doing so. Is there any sort of explanation that he is able to give after he does this sort of behavior? Is he starting this sort of behavior, or is it in reaction to a person who did something? तो ये सब इंटरेक्शन करना, डिस्कशन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, right? And you'll also have to talk about the consequence of all of these things in a story format. As I said, story format works really well with children at least. Okay, when you start telling them what to do, they might not listen. But if you talk about a similar story, if you narrate a similar story where the child is hitting and the child is getting debarred and disconnected with the outer world, and then he has to live alone and all the negative impact, this might have a sort of bring about a change in the child's behavior. Also, you will have to talk about the other adults who are talking with him, interacting with him. I also want you to focus on the interactions the child is having with the external environment, because usually this is a copying behavior. They copy behavior, and I don't know, he might be replicating, he might be copying some adult that he is seen around. You see a lot of abuse these days happening around, right? Even if you watch TV for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you will see all of this happening, right? So many abuse cases, so many harassment, hitting, and all of this is shown. So try and keep him away from such kind of environments where he gets to see all of this happening. When he sees this, he might be trying to copy this sort of behavior. So try and keep a check on that as well, and identify where is he getting this behavior from. Okay, my child is hyperactive and impulsive, cannot keep him indoors for whole day, needs to let out his energy. When he plays with his kids, keeps hitting them. Again, the same thing. What you will have to do is you will have to understand कि ये source कहाँ है. What is the actual source of this particular behavior? Because what we are seeing is the symptom. We are not seeing it the root cause, and therefore we'll have to analyze. This is something that I won't be able to do an in-depth analysis right now, because I'll have to get more history of this child, right? But I can try and help you in case you mail me on poonam@rollercoasteredu.com, and then we shall take it from there. My son is 3 years old, but still now he doesn't speak properly. Most of the time he likes to play and messing in things. If I try to make him write letters, he will rub and okay, any suggestions? So considering that he is 3 years of age, okay, I suggest that don't get him to write. आप उसको scribble करने को बोल दीजिए. Now what happens is, our education system is such that we introduce writing very early in life. Okay, while most of the kids are able to cope up, if you see the handwriting might not be nice. Okay, and therefore it's very important that you understand that when kids are growing, there is certain thing called as the gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Gross motor skills are grasping things, जहाँ पे बड़े things, where they are able to handling a toothbrush, handling an eraser, or taking care of a pen, or pencil, writing. All of these require a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, a lot of agility, and a lot of physical health, right? Because your hands need to be powerful and have a lot of strength to do this, and they have not grown properly, and they have not developed, and therefore a lot of kids face this problem and they do not want to write. So in case he doesn't want to write, it's absolutely okay. I would suggest that do not force him yet. Okay, try start with scribbling, या फिर patterns बनाइए. Try introducing standing line, slanting line, and you can start with scribbling. It's absolutely fine, because this activity is also going to help him engage with his fine and gross motor skills that he can do. Talking about the language development, this is a very crucial area or an aspect of a child's growth and development. Now, I don't know which aspect is missing, but I'm just going to give you things that you can do as a parent, okay? What happens is the child has very little vocabulary because he doesn't get to listen a lot of language. There's less of interaction. Interactions बहुत कम हो गए हैं because mostly both the parents are working. They're busy with their own tasks and jobs, and therefore that interaction and discussion जो होना चाहिए, right, with your child, that is not happening. So in case that is missing, आप वो increase कर सकते हो. Try and interact a lot with your child. Discuss various topics. Tell him a lot of stories. Okay, bring story books and make it a story time session. Try and understand what is the kind of vocabulary that he is able to build after the reading, after the listening. Ask him questions. After the story is over, ask him objective questions like what color is the crow? What color is the tree? Okay, what is the or simple logical questions, or what are you feeling right now, did you like this story or did you not like the story. Then you can move on to more open-ended questions where he is able to describe a particular thing, right. पहले ही आप उसको describe करने बोल दोगे तो वो शायद ना आए उसको, simply because he doesn't have the words only to describe. So start with simple sentences, start with one word questions or answers, and make it easier for him. Once he starts responding, then move on to more complex. So start with simple activities and then graduate to more complex activities. Then play or maybe an audio, okay, maybe chanting or things like that. Ask him to listen to it and repeat it and rehearse it. Okay, check the pattern. If he is able to follow those patterns, you will understand if he is listening properly, you will understand if he is recalling properly. So all of these things are interconnected. The only one thing that you can do is give him a lot of concepts and material and content to listen, to read. So all the five senses, okay, need to be integrated here. So you give him certain textures and you ask them ki feel this and tell me what is this to you. If he is not able to answer, tell him, you know what, we call this rough. So you introduce that word rough. The second day, introduce the same thing that you had given yesterday, and ask him, now can you tell me what is the texture. Again, the child might not be able to say, you help him. The third day, you come up with something different. So these are the patterns that you'll have to introduce on a daily basis and figure out what really works for your child. Okay. My child is 4.5 years old, suffered from mixed expressive receptive language delay or mix of autism and ADHD. She pees in the toilet but cannot express her need to potty and does it in her underpants. Okay, still she's almost okay, Madhuparna, I think this is this needs counseling and this will need an in-depth history. So I won't be able to do it over a call or a chat right now, but you can email me your case on poonam@rollercoasteredu.com, and then my team can get in touch with you and help you, because this will require a therapy and a session. Okay, how do I react and behave the same way how you describing, but in that case I become monster for her and she doesn't want to come to me for anything. She always goes to her dad. If you can advise how to handle this. My daughter is 7. Second question, as parent, too much love or too much restrictions might spoil kids. Any do's and don'ts for parents from your end? Yes, absolutely. You're right, Sarika. There are certain do's and don'ts. Like I said, एक तो आपको बहुत intentional होना पड़ेगा. You will have to understand what is your purpose of parenting. Right, आपका पर्पस क्या है. So there can't be too much of love and too much of mollycoddling. So I have seen many parents ki they feel that they love their child and therefore they make every single thing available for their child. Now that is not love, that is spoiling. Okay, love is when you're genuinely concerned about your child. You love your child. There has to be an unconditional love, obviously. But when your child, okay, is not behaving in an appropriate way, does not have appropriate behaviors, then you will have to correct him, right? As a parent, you will have to correct that. The second thing that parents do is that they want to be friends with the child. They want to be the child's closest friend, and that's not happening. At least that's not something that I believe or suggest. Okay, because you are a parent, right? आप उसके parent हो, आप friends नहीं हो. Having a friendly conversation is different. Being friendly sometimes is different, and being a friend to your child is very different. Okay, please do not confuse these two frameworks. Being friendly is absolutely okay. Even I'm friendly with my daughter. So we have a lot of friendly exchange and conversations, but that does not mean that I'm a friend to her. Okay, I create and nurture her in a way that I create a conducive environment where she feels safe and secured to come and have a conversation with me, have a discussion with me, talk about her intimate feelings and her experiences. If she has any challenges, she will come and talk to me. So that's the kind of conducive environment that you need to create. But having said that, you need to have that demarcation and that boundary that you need to create. So you'll have to establish those rules and regulations where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is allowed and it's absolutely okay. But beyond 6, sorry, that's not happening. And that is something that आपको मार के पीट के नहीं बताना है. You don't have to get angry also, but you'll have to be very assertive when you explain all these things, that these are the behaviors that I completely understand and I appreciate. These are the behaviors that I look forward to from you. Okay, these are the behaviors that I do not appreciate and I want you to stop right now. In case you're doing it, please stop doing that right now. So these are the kind of boundaries that you will have to create. Secondly, you will have to be an amazing role model for that, right? Many a times parents will talk and crib and complain about their children, मेरा बच्चा ये नहीं खाता, मेरा बच्चा वो नहीं पीता, he doesn't act properly, he doesn't behave properly, he doesn't listen to me. Okay, but you will have to realize that your child, okay, is going to follow you. You are the first role model. So before you blame and before you know, point out fingers at others, your kids, you will have to focus on yourself. Somewhere you will have to do a self reflection activity where you will have to sit and write down, how do I behave, okay, how do I emote, how do I express, what's the kind of communication style that I apply when I'm talking to my children. Okay, these are the things that you will have to constantly check as a parent. So once you are aware that this is a pattern that you are following, and look, while we might be super parents, we might be intentional parents, and we are a parent to the child, but ultimately we are a human being, and therefore challenges आएंगे, problems आएंगे, there will be times and phases where you will also go wrong as a parent and you will falter, you will make mistake. I want you to just acknowledge and be aware of that. You know, there have been times when I have discussed a particular fault or things that I have done in a wrong way with my child, and I've discussed it, and I've also gone ahead and said a sorry for that. So it's absolutely okay. It's like being authentic, like I talked about, right? So you'll have to manage all of these things. Secondly, I want the parents to share this responsibility. Many times I know, or I've heard of that, you know, there is a single parent who is taking care of the child, and the entire load and the entire responsibility is put onto that person, whether it's the mother or the father, right? These days I'm happy, I'm glad, fortunately fathers are also playing an important role, and you know, claiming that, and therefore it's working as a team effort or a team process, and which is good, and that's how it should be. There are certain things which the mother can do, and yes, she will do it. There are certain things that the father will do, and you should appreciate that the, you know, father has done so much. But you will have to divide, you'll have to divide certain tasks, and that has to be based on, you know, what are you good at. Like for example, in my family system, you know, I'm amazing when I'm teaching certain things like social emotional learning or personal development or communication or painting and drawing and acting and playing, all of that I take care of. But my daughter loves to watch fiction movies, okay, and she loves fiction. So movie or certain things or certain skills like playing badminton is something that, you know, my husband takes over. So you'll have to understand as a parent, as a person, what are you good at, and you'll have to utilize that power and that passion to bring about that change. So if you're good at a certain thing, take up that as your role and your responsibility when it comes to rearing your child. And after that, in this way, you'll be able to balance out things. Okay, there was one particular point that I missed. You know, someone talking about that the child is always going to the father and not coming to you. So you'll have to figure if there is any inconsistency in the parenting patterns that you're following. Many a times kids will follow a particular pattern because, you know, they get what they want all the time from that particular parent, right? So that should not be happening. As parents, as a team, you'll have to sit and discuss that these are the certain things and important and certain values that we have to follow as a family. So if the child comes to me, I will say a no. Ensure that you also say a no. You can't say a yes and a no alternatively all the time. Okay, so there has to be a consensus, there has to be a collaborative effort. Also the child has to know that once I go to the mother or to the father, it doesn't matter, the decision is always a joint decision. So even, you know, kids play a lot of all of these things, right? So they know what they can get from their mother, they know what they'll get from their father, and therefore they'll play all of these things around and try and get attention. So do not give in to that attention. Okay. Okay, perfect. I think I have answered almost all the questions, right? Is there anything else that you want to know? Thank you so much for attending this live session. I also have a YouTube channel where you can check up, you know, I have talked about resilience, I've talked about communication, I've talked about success series. So I release a video every Tuesday and Saturday, and you can sign up and, you know, follow me on YouTube. You can search for Dr. Poonam Kage. I'm also available on Instagram. So every day I have, you know, effective strategies and tips and challenges that I talk about. Okay, so you can sign up and follow me on Instagram. Yeah, thank you so much for attending this live session. Thank you so much.